Hey everybody, how's it going? It's your man here, Cadeorade5, and I am back for a different sort of video for you guys today. Today I'm going to be going through my Fangame ROM hack review rubric because you guys seemed to like that when I did that with Apathy, so I think I'll continue to do that in the future games that I play. And also, I know you're probably being directed from probably a future review that I do to this video. But if you're just watching this video in general, when I upload it, if there's a game that I've played and completed and you want me to review it, please comment that game down below and I'll see if I can review it. Anyways, let's not waste any more time here and let's go on to the first category that I review, the one with the most points as well, which is story. And story's the most amount of points, largely because I play fan games and ROM hacks for the story. I find that they have much better stories than normal Pokemon games. Really the only Pokemon game in my opinion that had a good story, maybe Gen 4, but definitely Gen 5 has the best story in my opinion. But other than that, they don't really have stories, especially the newer ones. They don't really have that. They try and do story and it's just not very good. So that's why it's out of 10, because I think story can be very important in fan games. And then another reason is like a good story makes the game amazing. You see, like, I mean, obviously Apathy was an incredible game with incredible storytelling, but just outside of Pokemon you have Red Dead, which have incredible stories, but at the same time, if there's like a bad story, it can make the game just completely unbearable and horrible. So that's why I've given it the most amount of points. Next up, we have music. Music can make a good game great, in my opinion. It just adds another dimension to the immersion and whatnot. Basically, I would say it's probably really easy to get a 4 out of 5 on music, and it's probably really not super difficult, but much more difficult to get a 5 out of 5. Basically, I'm just looking for music to match the situation. If you have custom music, obviously that's easier than if you have other music. In my opinion, I don't think you can just throw in a bunch of good themes from previous Pokemon games and get a 5 out of 5 on music. That music has to match the situation, the city, whatever you're doing. And then one thing, I didn't write that down, but I think I put it in the graphic, is that at least for fan games, RMXP and Pokemon Essentials kind of have like a few default tracks that they have just already in there. I really don't like it when I see fan games that only use those tracks or largely only use those tracks, because it's very repetitive, and I hope it's not difficult to put new music in there, so I hope that people switch them up when they do that. Anyways, up next is difficulty. Difficulty is another reason why I play fan games. Obviously, you know that like Emerald's a pretty difficult game, and some of the earlier games are very difficult. But I didn't. Sword and Shield, there was, in my opinion, there's really only one difficult battle, and that was Leon, obviously. So as I said, yeah, difficulty is another reason why I play fan games. It doesn't make a break. I mean, it doesn't really make a game. It can break a game though. I don't want like a cakewalk. I don't want to have to just plow through everything. Even when I'm using like really bad Pokemon, I want to like actually have to be challenged. But at the same time, I don't want to be losing every battle. I don't want to be playing Dark Rising. I don't think I'll really ever play Dark Rising, just because of how difficult that game is. And I don't think it has too cohesive of a story either. I don't want to lose every battle. In important battles, I want to be challenged, but I don't want to be facing like level 30 Dragonites and whatnot, because I think that's just really stupid. Next up is the region, and funnily enough, even though this is out of 5, this is actually the one that I wrote the most points for, because I don't know, I really care about regions. I don't know why, I just do. I think it really provides most of the premise to like a story or a game or whatnot, and you know, That's why I enjoy it, because obviously I enjoy stories as well. That's why I put it stories out of 10. But basically for the region I'm looking for, doesn't make enough sense. I'm not some topography or geography like geek. I don't know what biome or what type of land is common next to another land. I don't really care about that. All I care is that does the region make sense? It's not too difficult to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, then you're doing something really, really wrong, in my opinion. Next up is the region linear? I don't. That's another issue I had with Sword and Shield. An issue with kind of the British Isles, I guess, in general, is that Great Britain is extremely linear just when you look at it, and Pokemon didn't really do too much to switch that up. You're kind of just traveling north in Sword and Shield, and I don't really like that. So please don't make the region linear. If you can, make us go back and forth. It's much more entertaining that way, in my opinion. Next up, are there areas to catch different types of Pokemon? So like, throughout the region, you should probably have like some ice caves, some normal caves, maybe like obviously normal grass routes, just a little bit of everything so you can catch different types of Pokemon in each location. And then, can we explore enough areas? I guess if you make like, I don't really know why I put this on here. Just basically, if there's like an 8 gym game and there's 8 cities, come on now, like do a little bit better than that, please. Because not every city has to be a gym city. Next up is Pokemon selection. This is out of 5. Basically, I just want a few options when I use Pokemon of each type. If my only fire type option is going to be the starter, I'm not going to like that. Then can we catch different Pokemon in different areas? I've played games where there's a largely the same Pokemon in every route. Maybe they evolve or not, but there's still it's just like the same exact Pokemon in every route. I obviously understand that you're trying to maybe keep it a little realistic, but at the same time, I think that you can probably switch it up a little bit more. It doesn't have to be uber realistic with Pokemon. Next up is if there's restricted Pokemon. Restricted Pokemon just basically limits the Pokemon that you get as the player. Basically, like the developer basically gives you the Pokemon instead of you going out and catching the Pokemon. If that happens, there's a way, because the developer will know what Pokemon you have, you can then take advantage by using the battles. So like battles can have really specific difficulty for your specific set of Pokemon, and I'm just hoping that, you know, the developers take advantage of that. Next up is visuals. Basically, the only thing I'm looking for is, does the game feel alive? If the game doesn't feel alive, it's really boring. I'm not very good at making games feel alive, and that's why I'm kind of looking for that. And then one other thing, just with visuals, I feel like it should be pretty simple. Are you mixing like gens with your visual style? Like, please don't have like your default RMXP Gen 3 overworld sprite, and then you have Gen 4 tiles mixed in with Gen 5 trees. Like, please just keep it to one gen. Game Freak changed the style of tiles in each gen on purpose, so please don't mix them up. Which is just more so a nitpick, and I hope that people don't actually do that. I've played like 1 or 2 games with that, and I'm just like, come on, dude. Like, can you just put in a little bit more work here? A little bit more time, a little bit more effort. So yeah. Anyways, next up is Quirks. Basically, is there a breath of fresh air? Is there some unique mechanic that's not in every Pokemon game? It's pretty easy, I would say, to get a 3 out of 3. But also at the same time, a game can be great without any like special mechanics. So that's why it's only out of 3 points. Next up, these points. So if this if this game doesn't have Fakemon, this is the end of the review. And then there's a total of 38 points here. So you get your score out of 38. However, if you're playing a game with Fakemon, there are 3 extra categories that I'll go into, just because I think Fakemon can be really an important part of the game, especially if you have like full regions of Fakemon, not just a few here and there. And I'm not like, I don't know, if you've watched different series on my channel, I wouldn't say Saffron has Fakemon. They have like a few different, like, they have a different Gastrodon form, they have like a different Butterfree form. That's not Fakemon. Infinity, I would say, has Fakemon. They've got like regional variants for their starters. They've got a few different evolutions. But where Saffron only has 2, Infinity has like probably like 7, and they're your starters, some of them. So that's that. So basically the designs, do they look cool? Do the Fakemon look cool? I don't really want to be a guy that like harpens on people trying their best to sprite, because I'm horrible at spriting. I wish I was better at it. But really, as long as I see that you're putting like time and effort into your like sprites and designs, then you should be fine. But I've also seen games where you literally like spend like 2 minutes on every sprite, and the sprites don't look good, obviously. Next up, are the designs unique from other Pokemon? Obviously, you might have your regional rodent, you might have your regional bird, but like, are they based on different species? I don't want a carbon copy of Rattata. I don't want a carbon copy of Pidgey or something like that. Like even Pidove, I know they're Pidgey and Pidove are very similar, but they're still different enough to where it's not like they're not carbon copies. And then finally, if it applies, do the designs of the Fakemon match the region? And this is basically if your region is based off a real location in real life. If it is, have you done at least a little bit of research into the animals that live in that region, and have you maybe made some of those animals into Fakemon? Next up is stats and movesets for these Fakemon. Do they make sense? Something that I didn't like in Sword and Shield with the new Pokemon is that you would have like special attackers only learning physical moves. For example, I use Toxicity. Its best, I think like its best special poison move was Smog. It tried to learn Poison Jab. It never tried to learn Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave. But it's more a special attacker. So I just basically little things like that. Do they make sense? Are they balanced within reason? I don't want my fire type Fakemon to be able to use V-Create, because that's a special move, signature move for Victini. And now you're saying, oh, well, that's easy to do. Well, I'm just saying extreme cases here. Are they balanced? So I don't want to be battling a Pokemon that can learn Earthquake, Scald, all these random things, unless it makes sense for them to be able to use these moves. And then finally, are there at least some unique moves and abilities? I think that's something that isn't taken advantage of enough. Do you have some unique moves to some of these Fakemon that these moves make sense, they're original? Same thing with abilities. And then finally, the last category for Fakemon is implementation, which is out of 5. All these are out of 5, basically. The only 2 categories that I have done that aren't out of 5 are story and quirks. Implementation is out of 5. This should really just be an easy 5 out of 5 for anyone. Basically, are the Fakemon used in the game, are they important to the game? Most of the time when you're using Fakemon, yes, they are. That's kind of how I make my distinction between like Saffron and Infinity. Like there's just 2 random forms in Saffron, and they're not very important to the game. I wouldn't really say that I would consider them Fakemon for this review. But Infinity, you know, your starters are regional variants. I would include that in Fakemon. So that's that. So basically, implementation, are they used in the game? Are they important? And then, can the player at least obtain these Pokemon, these Fakemon? Because I don't like playing games where there are all these Fakemon, but the gym leaders and only important trainers have them, and then we can never use them. I've played a few fan games like that, and it's not fun. So anyways, that's that. I think if you add 15 to 38, I think you get a total of 53 for Fakemon. I'd say obviously if you do have Fakemon, it might be easier to get a higher percentage, but at the same time it could be easier for you to lose more points. So consider that, I guess, when you're making your game. Anyways, this isn't meant to like scare any future game developers. I do these reviews to help game developers see what I don't know. I don't want to call myself a critic because I feel like the word critic has a bad connotation. But these are all just for if the developers see these, for them to see what, in my opinion, they could improve on. So yeah, hopefully this video wasn't too boring. It probably was, but for some of you Fangame and ROM hack geeks out there like myself, I hope you agree at least enough with my rubric. If not, leave a comment down below of what you would change, because I'm always open to changes. And then finally, as I said in the beginning of the video, if there's a game that I've played on the channel and completed, and I have not done a review for that game, please let me know, and I will go ahead and see if I can review that. Anyways, with that, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, mock punch that like button. Come on now, and of course subscribe if you guys have not. If you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, I don't know how you found this video or whatnot. But anyways, with that, you guys, I'm gonna get up out. This is Cadeorade5 signing out. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a good day.